Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to another match preview. Finally, the international break is over, and as you can see, I'm joined with Ewan. Ewan, how's it going, man?
All good, thank you.
Good. So we're back, as we say, for another match preview. Been a while since the last game, Ewan. West Ham was the last game, which seems crazy because that was seems like ages ago now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It was. I mean, what a special game that was. I mean, I don't think it was the best game in terms of how we've played. I think we've played better, like we said in the post-match review. But I think we ground out that result, and like I said, we are sort of learning how to become a Premier League team and how to grind out those results, defend deep sometimes, sit back and then just hit them when we can and get that goal. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, man like Adama as the super sub one day. Again, there's going to be a bit of debate in the next couple of days whether he should start, but we'll talk about that later on. But we'll quickly look at our opposition, Burnley. Unfortunately, we've not got an opposition preview this week. If there are any Burnley fans out there or fan channels that are watching this, reach out to us so we can hook up for obviously the reverse fixture, because I did contact a few people, but we couldn't really get hold of anyone. But we're looking at Burnley so far. They're yet to win a game this season in the Premier League. Obviously, had that little Europa League stint that didn't quite go as planned, I suppose. But their only point so far this season was a 0-0 draw away at Southampton on the opening day. Other than that, there are other results. Lost out 3-1 to Watford, or Watford obviously on a good form at the moment. Lost out to Fulham 4-2, and then obviously lost out to Manchester United as well. It'll be an interesting one, this one, Ewan. I think it's going to be a different sort of test for Burnley. To be fair, I'll be honest, I tipped them to struggle this season, only purely because of the fact of them having or thinking they'd have European football throughout the whole season. They had a tough test against Olympiacos, obviously, which got them knocked out. But what do you reckon about Burnley then? How do you think the game's going to sort of pan out on Sunday?
Yeah, I agree with what you said about the whole the Europa League thing. I think that the reason they have struggled so far is because of that toll of games in pre-season and sort of the start of the season. I've been looking at the fixtures early, and I think they had about, what was it, 4 or 5 Europa League games at the start. Which is, they've played a lot more games than any other team, but in another way that could have been good for them, because it could have made their team stronger and obviously gel more, but it doesn't look like that's happened. So yeah, I think it'll be a tough game. I think it'll be a more physical game as well. I think they'll try and get in our faces and try and push us a bit higher as well. So it'll be interesting to see, and hopefully all of our players are fit for it, as we saw with Jimenez is possibly a doubt, is he?
Yeah, obviously, good point there. That international break over. I think everyone bar Jimenez has come back, but we put a stat on Talking Wolves with the amount of minutes that they'd all played. Jimenez came back. He didn't play the second game that Mexico were involved in against the US. So he was back in Compton earlier this week. I think it was a little bit of muscle discomfort, so it'll be interesting to see if he does come in. If not, maybe a start for Leo Bonatini, or it may see Diogo Jota go into a central role and maybe Costa on the left and Adama in. I saw a little rumour about Cavallero may feature. I'm not sure if he's back in training though, but I saw that he may be back this week. But I mean, talking about Burnley again, I had a bit of a nightmare with goalkeepers earlier at the start of pre-season. Heaton out. Nick Pope unfortunately injured as well, so that's a sort of emergency by Joe Hart, which isn't the worst of signings if I'm being honest, but we know what he's been like sort of previous in the last few years or so with his doubters. But Burnley, it sort of reminds me of the old school, well, I say old school now, the old Wolves Premier League team under Mick McCarthy, with how well they're going to be structured. It's just going to be a solid, no doubt, a 4-4-2 or something like that. And I mean, some of the players are also replicates that. You got Sam Vokes, you got Stephen Ward in the team. Top goal scorer at the moment for them, Tarkovsky as well. So it sort of shows where, for me at the moment, Wolves' sort of weakness as such has been defending set pieces. That's where Burnley are probably going to be hoping to get their goals, Ewan.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, they haven't scored too many goals with Tarkovsky as the high goal scorer this season so far. Even though he was 13 million or something. So
yeah,
I mean, he seems to be giving back a few goals. But yeah, and especially with that goalkeeper thing, they have, is it Lingard as well? They've got as backup now.
Yeah, the ex-United guy, Lindegaard, something like that. Yeah.
So they've got, I mean, some decent players. But yeah, I do feel it'll be, like I said, more physical and possibly more direct. And like you said, we're not great at defending those set pieces. So it's going to be interesting to see how they sort of attack us and how they come at us.
Well, yeah, that's like, as you say, they're direct. They're going to have Chris Wood. They're going to have Ashley Barnes, most probably. Even with Sam Boakes, who's a tall guy, it's going to be a different sort of test. We've played obviously City, who like to play football, get the ball on the deck. We played West Ham, who
did well against them as well.
Yeah,
to be fair,
exactly.
we combated them. So.
Yeah, exactly. And we played West Ham, who in theory played a similar sort of game or tried to, and Everton as well. So for us to play against a team where, no disrespect to Burnley, but it's probably more suited to a championship style of football. It's probably going to be similar to some of the teams that we played last season. So I think with Chris Wood and so on, it's going to be very, very interesting to see the likes of Ryan Bennett, Cody, and Willy Bolly. Guessing that's the back three. How they're going to do about them. Head-to-head wise, Wolves haven't won in the last 4 against Burnley, albeit 2 of those have been draws. But the last time we came up against them in the Premier League, we did get a double win over them. So fingers crossed, we're going to do it all right. Ewan, we'll go starting line at predictions though. How would you start the game? Would you, if everyone's fit, would you start the same team as West Ham, or would you give Adama the nudge to get into the starting lineup?
Good question. I think I'd probably stick the same. Start with the same 11, and then probably bring Adama on a little bit earlier, maybe around the 55th, 60th minute if we're struggling. If we're cruising though, I'd probably sort of keep him out and give Jota more time to try and get him that goal and try and get him up to speed a bit more, because he has looked a little bit, shaky the last few games. So yeah, it'd be interesting, but I'd keep it the same.
So I'd probably agree with that. Obviously, if everyone isn't, if Jimenez, as maybe we do know, may not feature, be very, very interesting to see Jota take the central role and Adama and obviously Costa on the left. And I think I think Burnley's probably a good game to try that sort of thing out, especially if Jimenez is out. They're going to be a bit fragile. They really want to chase the win. So I'm not going to say they're going to go attacking, but they're probably going to push a little bit more, which obviously could give that front three a little bit more freedom. Score predictions though, Ewan, obviously Super Sunday. It's a bit weird, putting Burnley versus Wolves in that bracket. But what do you reckon the score's going to be?
I'm going to go for a 1-1. I don't think we'll win this one. I think we'll win 1-1. Yeah.
I think we will win, but I'm going to go with a 1-0. It'll be a very tough game. I think it'll be, as we say, it's going to be a very different challenge to what we've faced so far. Any Wolves fans or Burnley fans that are watching this, make sure you leave your score predictions down in the comment section down below. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Fingers crossed, we're going to have plenty more content coming up over the next couple of weeks or so. Obviously, we've got the United game, we've got Leicester in the Cup as well, and we'll have, as usual, the post-match reaction to the game against Burnley. But until next time, hopefully you enjoy the game, and we'll see you all very soon.